Welcome to Understanding the Bible Part 1. I'm Paweł Stawarczyk, and today we would like to take a look at the Fertile Crescent. This is the map of the oldest civilizations in the world. Usually they were sequences of civilizations that built on the ruins of former ones. When we look at Americas, we have the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas. In Europe, in the very south, some beginnings of civilization, then Middle East, then northern India and China. All these civilizations left legacies that were incorporated into our modern so-called Western civilization. But this time we would like to focus on the Middle East. This is the home of the Fertile Crescent. Crescent is a fancy word for this curved shape to the left. The most immediate example from nature would be the shape of the moon. Our crescent has a very nice cousin, Crescent, and we can see the family resemblance right away. Let's take a few seconds for subliminal messaging. As you probably guessed, this presentation is sponsored by our local bakery around the corner. This is our Fertile Crescent as seen by the Martians. As we see, it is conveniently located right in the middle between Europe, Asia, and Africa. In modern political terms, we call this area Middle East. The Fertile Crescent starts here in Iraq, moves over to Syria, Lebanon, Israel and Palestine, and finally Egypt. This is what it looks like when we remove the political boundaries. The Fertile Crescent, as it has always been. Some of the names that you can see on the map are modern. Some go back thousands of years. What's special about the Fertile Crescent is its abundance of water in an otherwise very dry environment. Lots of water means agriculture, which means cities, which means culture, which means many fascinating events and stories. A whole lot of those events and stories found their way into the Bible, and that is why we want to know more about the Fertile Crescent, in order to understand God's message for us clearer. Irrigation appeared here and has been perfected. That means more food, that means more people can devote their time, energy, and talents to other activities than farming. And this is how cultures evolved, developed, cities, different inventions, science. The manufacture of glass has been evolved in the Fertile Crescent. Different feats of architecture also come from the Fertile Crescent. The wheel was invented within the Fertile Crescent. Well, we may dismiss it. We can say, what's the big deal about the wheel? But when we look at the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Incas, they built their civilizations without the wheel. So on the one hand, we admire it, and we see it as possible to build an empire without the wheel, but that means they never came to enjoy certain inventions, solutions that only wheels allow. It starts with the improvements in food production, and then manufacturing on a large scale. The amazing transportation as we know it today. And the sky is the limit for the wheel, so who knows what else we will enjoy because of the wheel. Far from dismissing the wheel, we are very grateful that we can be the beneficiaries of this invention of the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent is also the place where the modern writing of the Western civilization has its origins, and we do not have to explain the importance of the writing within a civilization. So all these achievements lead to a very proud name for the Fertile Crescent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the proud name for the Fertile Crescent is the cradle of civilization. It is here that many of the inventions took place, and it is from here that they spread around the globe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, as we just heard, the Fertile Crescent is the cradle of civilization. Many of the inventions that we are using until today, that are very important until today, had their origins within the Fertile Crescent. However, nothing lasts forever, and the same applies to the Fertile Crescent. It was a home for thousands of years of different civilizations, of stunning achievements, but at a certain point it just lost its vitality, it lost its power, and the centers of civilizations shifted away from this area. The Fertile Crescent faded. Thankfully, it did not disappear without traces. All its achievements were passed on to other civilizations nearby, like to the Roman Empire. This empire, in turn, built its power, built its knowledge, built its civilization, built its own achievements on the ruins or on the achievements of other civilizations before it. Nothing lasts forever, so mere several hundred years later, Roman Empire fades away itself. Thankfully, it does not disappear without traces, so all or most of Roman achievements are passed on to the medieval Europe. And with the Roman achievements, of course, the achievements of the Fertile Crescent. The medieval Europe evolves into the Europe of the 18th century, and the Roman achievements and by extension the achievements of the Fertile Crescent are passed on to the new centers of knowledge and science and industry. This Europe is already interested in conquering the world. And Europe does conquer the world, for better or for worse. And Europe does spread its own civilization around the globe. The civilization that partially was built on the achievements of the Roman Empire, that partially was built on the achievements of the Fertile Crescent. So as we see, what started within the Fertile Crescent later on was carried to all parts of the world around the globe. So when you think about it, today we're all cultural descendants of the Fertile Crescent. Cultural descendants of the Fertile Crescent. Sounds like some secret society, right? But yes, we are cultural descendants of the Fertile Crescent. We may be tempted to dismiss all this geography of some distant places or old history, but as we get to know the background better, we understand clearer God's message in the Bible for us as humanity and then for each one of us in our lives. So these are some examples of important parts of the Bible which will not be very clear if we do not understand the background of the culture and geography of those times. Next time, we would like to take a look at the fascinating world of Mesopotamia, which, by the way, is here. Now you can call Grandma and tell her, Grandma, I'm a cultural descendant of the Fertile Crescent. And if you want to scare your grandma even more, you can add, and so are you.